Digital jurors, what are we talking about? These are folks who are either on jury duty or even on a case, and they're sending out tweets and texts and Facebook posts about what's going on in the trial, and they're paying big no-no, but it's become a big problem. I'm going to talk to a legal expert about what steps are being taken to keep people away from doing that, because you get into a trial and you start putting that stuff out there, there's a mistrial or a conviction can be overturned, all kinds of potential problems there. So. Back here at 9:14 this morning, our obsession with sharing every moment of our everyday with friends on Facebook or followers on Twitter or texting a loved one can cause problems. For example, if you're on a jury and you're posting your thoughts about the case online for the entire world to see, as you might suspect, judges and attorneys not happy about this trend, and they're taking steps to stop it. Here with us this morning, a social media savvy attorney from the Boston law firm Sugarman & Sugarman. We have Marianne LeBlanc with us this morning. Marianne, thanks for coming in.
Good morning.
We do appreciate it. How often is this happening where someone's on a jury and they're texting? Is this becoming a serious issue now?
It's a major problem facing our courts right now nationwide. And of course, as big as the problem is that we know, it's safe to assume that the actual problem is so much larger because of the privacy within which jurors can go online.
And I guess this is compromising cases now, right?
Absolutely. There's actually a term for it. It's called Google mistrial.
And so if you've got a pretty sharp defense attorney, they're probably going through all the jurors and saying, okay, let me find their Twitter account, let me find their Facebook posting, see what they're putting out there.
That's right. And that can be cause for a mistrial if they find that jurors have been influenced by extraneous information. There
are a couple of examples here, some postings that have caused concern. It was printed in the Globe, one person texting, waiting for jury duty, don't feel impartial. And another post, blah, jury duty. Both get responses from others saying, hey, throw the book at them. Why are these particular cases troublesome? They didn't mention anything about the case, so why would these be a problem?
Those instances came from a recent case that came down from our appeals court, and there are two problems with that. Number one, there's an absolute prohibition on jurors from communicating whatsoever about a trial on which they are serving as a juror. Number two, although those examples may seem, some of them, somewhat innocent, if you were to post, I'm sitting on a trial in Suffolk Superior Court, you're inviting a response. I may respond to you and say, hey, I know that case. I know that defendant. Let me tell you a few things about him. And now you may have received information prejudicial to the party.
There are also cases where jurors have used their smartphones to research cases that they're on, right?
That's right. And that also is impermissible. Remember that our judicial system is based on the adversarial system. That means that both sides put in their evidence. It's subject to scrutiny and challenge. Jurors are not supposed to consider any information outside of that evidence.
So warnings are now being issued in a way. These are part of jury instructions now, is that right?
Well, that's why this recent case is very important, because the court commented on that and said the old prohibition about just not communicating is not enough anymore, that judges need to be very explicit that jurors cannot go online, post online while they're serving as a juror.
I know California, for example, last year put in a new law that went into effect in January, banning jurors from texting or tweeting or anyway communicating online. Is something like that going to make sense in Massachusetts and perhaps even nationwide for that matter?
I think so, and I think ultimately we may need to go even more broad than that in terms of asking jurors to stay off social media altogether during their juror service. I love social media. I'm on Twitter every day, but particularly in a high-profile case, we have to make sure that jurors are not influenced by outside matters.
Are phones allowed in the courtroom now? Can you, if you're a juror, are you allowed to have one in your pocket?
In some courtrooms, they are allowed. And in fact, there have been some cases where jurors have been found Googling information
so
in the jury box.
Actually right there while it's going on. So it makes sense then that you could just ban them from being in the courtroom at all. I mean, there are other possible steps that could be taken here, right?
That's true. That's true. And the court's decision recently takes those steps toward that.
Why is it, and I know this is not specific to the law itself, but why can't people figure out that that's not something you're supposed to do on their own? Why do you need, we tell our kids, hey, anything you post, just pretend anybody's going to read it. If you're on a case in a trial, that really applies.
I think that for a lot of people, there's no filter between what they think and what they post. And what the court said in the recent case is that jurors need to separate and insulate their juror service from their digital lives.
Right. So just you're in this special area now, and you got to pretend nothing else exists.
That's right.
All right. Well, Marianne LeBlanc, we appreciate it. Thanks for sharing your
so
expertise
much
this morning.
Thank you.
Let's get over to Shannon.